Good morning, club members. We digest world-class journalism and talk it through in plain English. Here are 5 stories worth your time. Organised criminal gangs around the world are stealing vast amounts of copper cable. In Chile, police recently uncovered a ring that sold nearly $1 billion of stolen metal. Corrupt technicians even diverted old communications wires while laying new fibre optic lines. Chile is the largest producer of copper, yet its own infrastructure is under siege. The global price of copper jumped by over 40% last year alone. World demand is surging because modern tech requires this highly conductive metal. Massive data centers for AI and expanding power grids require miles of thick wiring. Solar panels and wind turbines also use far more copper than traditional power plants. Yet opening a new mine takes over a decade and requires huge investment. As a result, global supply will not keep pace with our appetite for energy. High market prices have turned basic electrical infrastructure into a gold mine for crooks. Recycled metal trade groups report that theft incidents are far higher than historic levels. Criminal networks are becoming far more professional, hiring specialists with technical know-how. These gangs target remote solar and wind farms that often lack proper security guards. Intruders can slice through fences and strip kilometers of heavy cable in hours. They also strip wires along active railway lines and at electric vehicle charging stations. In Canada, one main telecom operator reported over 900 copper thefts this year. That works out to an average of 5 separate raids every single day. A single severed cable can instantly cut internet access for tens of thousands of homes. In Chile, thieves stole over 400 kilometers of power lines last year. Those coordinated cuts left more than 260,000 people without light. In mining areas, armed gangs now hijack delivery trucks and rob warehouses directly. Much of this stolen copper is secretly shipped overseas to buyers in Asia. Fixing damaged networks costs energy and transport companies millions of dollars each year. Beyond financial losses, these crimes delay trains and disrupt emergency communication services. Governments want to build greener power grids and faster digital networks everywhere. But protecting millions of miles of exposed wire presents a massive security headache. Until new mines open, high prices will keep pushing organized gangs to hunt for copper. Leaving behind missing copper cables, our second topic today is a growing fight over artificial intelligence. The United States government recently floated the idea of banning Chinese artificial intelligence models. Remarkably, Silicon Valley tech giants began protesting the plan before China even responded. More than 100 industry heavyweights signed an open letter opposing any blanket ban. At the same time, a coalition of nearly 200 startups sent a separate warning letter. They argued that blocking foreign models would stifle competition and raise costs for American businesses. The trigger for this disagreement was a new Chinese model called Kimi K3. Released by a Beijing startup, it recently scored near the top in global performance tests. That breakthrough reignited fears in Washington about American companies losing their technological lead. To understand Silicon Valley reaction, we need to see how these models are shared. Most Chinese systems are released as open-weight models, software with accessible underlying code. Anyone can download, run, and fine-tune the software to build their own commercial products. However, the original developers keep their training data secret from the public. Because that data is hidden, American officials worry about potential bias or secret backdoor access. So why are American tech leaders fighting so hard to protect these foreign models? The main reason comes down to hardware demand and building costs for new startups. Leading chipmakers believe that excellent free software is actually wonderful for hardware sales. When Chinese models lower the price of using artificial intelligence, more small companies start building tools. As thousands of new apps launch, overall demand for advanced computer chips rises sharply. In effect, free foreign software encourages companies to spend more on American chips and hardware. Cloud providers also profit because customers rent their servers to run these models. Major chip makers have even created new alliances to build open, secure tools for everyone. Beyond immediate profits, Silicon Valley fears that a foreign ban sets a dangerous precedent. Tech founders worry that government restrictions today could lead to heavy regulation of all open software. They argue that shutting out competitors will only entrench a few dominant tech monopolies. American policymakers now face a difficult choice between national security and open market growth. Banning Chinese models might feel safe, but it could easily stall wider technological progress. Silicon Valley clearly believes that keeping software open remains America's best path forward. For our third story, we turn from software battles to a hidden danger in green energy. The Democratic Republic of Congo produces most of the world's cobalt. This metal is vital for making the batteries that power electric vehicles. However, the ground beneath the country holds more than just valuable battery metals. Radioactive uranium naturally coexists with cobalt across the entire mining region. In fact, this same region supplied the uranium for the world's first atomic bombs. Today, large amounts of unmonitored uranium leave the country mixed inside normal shipments. Specialists warn that this unwanted extra cargo creates a growing security risk. Between the year 2024, a massive amount of uranium slipped out. Estimates show that exported cobalt contained over 2,000 tons of natural uranium. If extracted and enriched, that quantity could fuel 600 nuclear weapons. Alternatively, it could power a large nuclear reactor for a full decade. Nobody claims that buyers are building weapons directly from raw shipments today. Instead, experts worry about unmonitored stockpiles quietly accumulating over many years. The issue also hits very close to home for local communities. Miners work with mixed ores every day without knowing the radiation levels. Truck drivers carry heavy loads across long distances while breathing in radioactive dust. Routine testing on recent exports revealed radiation levels above safe limits for the public. To make matters harder, long porous borders and civil conflict weaken oversight. Armed rebel groups control several eastern provinces where radioactive minerals exist. Officials fear these materials could be smuggled or used to cause harm. Meanwhile, most of the raw cobalt travels straight to China for refining. China hosts the largest battery industry alongside a rapidly expanding nuclear program. International safety agencies cannot easily verify what happens to the uranium inside those shipments. Because of these fears, the Congolese government is seeking foreign financial help. They want to install towering radiation detectors along key export routes into Zambia. These scanners would test every passing truck before it leaves the country. Yet building proper security infrastructure across vast borders will take time and stability. Until then, the world's clean energy revolution carries an uncomfortable nuclear shadow. For our fourth story today, we turn from underground mines to the football pitch. The global leaders of world football are facing a major rebellion. It all started when FIFA announced a bold new financial plan. The governing body wants to create a new company for its commercial operations. This firm would handle ticket sales, broadcasting rights, and global sponsorships. Officials value this new commercial enterprise at $20 billion. They plan to sell a 20% stake to private investors. That single deal would raise over $4 billion in cash. FIFA President Gianni Infantino presented this as a way to help football everywhere. He argued the money would develop the sport in poorer regions. However, European football officials reacted with deep anger. They accused FIFA of acting secretly without consulting the rest of the football world. European leaders declared that nobody owns football, and it is not FIFA's to sell. In fact, they warned they might even boycott future World Cups. The British Prime Minister also spoke out against the proposal. He insisted that football belongs to the fans who built its heritage. Concerns are also growing about the investors involved in the deal. An American investment firm called Thrive Capital is leading the funding. The firm believes live sports will retain immense value in an automated world, yet critics fear that private investors will always prioritize high financial returns. Outside investors could push FIFA to host tournaments only in wealthy places. They might force ticket prices up beyond the reach of normal fans. There are even worries about running the World Cup more frequently. FIFA promises it will keep full authority over competition rules and schedules. But history shows that massive private capital usually seeks strong influence over time. The World Cup has united global fans for nearly a century. Its value comes from shared cultural memories, not private capital. If profit motives take over, fan trust could shatter completely. A majority of national member associations must vote on the plan. Football leaders must decide if quick billions are worth alienating millions of fans. We end our world tour today with a quiet move in Washington. For 3 years, the United States has tried to stop China from building advanced AI chips. Western nations successfully blocked exports of the very latest chip-making equipment. These top machines use fine light to print microscopic circuits on silicon wafers. Since the ban took hold, not a single new machine has entered China. Yet Chinese companies quickly found a clever way around those strict rules. They turned to an older generation of equipment that remained legal to buy. These older tools use a coarser beam of light to print larger circuits. To overcome that limit, engineers run each wafer through the machine multiple times. By layering light patterns on top of each other, they build up finer features. This technique allowed China to produce 7-nanometer and 5-nanometer chips. However, this clever workaround comes with a very heavy cost. The multi-layering process is slow, wasteful, and extremely expensive. In fact, as few as 1 in 5 finished chips comes out usable. Making chips this way costs up to 50% more than standard methods. Normally, no commercial company could survive such terrible yields. But China's main chip maker is backed by a $47 billion state fund. With massive government help, economic losses simply do not matter. Chinese firms bought nearly 90 older machines in 2024 alone. Running these machines around the clock lets them produce millions of chips. One top Chinese tech giant even plans to ship over 1 million AI chips soon. Now, American lawmakers are pushing a new bill called the Match Act. The proposed law would ban all future sales of those older machines. More importantly, it blocks foreign engineers from servicing existing equipment in China. These machines are huge, delicate instruments made of over 100,000 parts. Without constant maintenance and spare parts, the installed equipment will slowly degrade. Washington hopes this maintenance ban will cripple production and buy time for Western firms. Whether cutting off repairs can truly halt China's AI ambitions remains an open question. That brings us to the end of our news stories for today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day ahead.